Hey everyone, and welcome to Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Today we're going to be doing a kit from Annie's. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. And for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So today, you guys, I had picked up an Afghan kit with Annie's. If you are unfamiliar with them, they do have subscription kits where they send you kits at a duration of, I believe, I don't know if it's weekly, but it's at least bi-weekly or monthly. And you go through their products, you find something that you like. In this case, I got their Afghan. And an Afghan is made up of different crocheted squares. So they'll send you in increments 3 squares at a time for you to make eventually this large Afghan. So I thought I'd try them out and see how it goes. Today in this pack, we are going to be doing 3 blocks. Like I said, it's going to be blocks 13, 14, 15. So if you want to do this whole blanket here, if you like what you see, go to Annie's. I'm not affiliated with them. And click on the Afghan. It'll tell you how many kits you expect to see. Each kit is about like $27 and some change. It's a lot. I think if you went to go and buy an Afghan at a store, you are looking at, you know, a couple $100, depending on how intricate the Afghan is in itself. Could you make an Afghan on your own and make these blocks up? Not necessarily the same ones, but, you know, yeah, you could, and it would, you know, obviously be cheaper. But what you're getting here is they do pack you with some crochet markers, and I think it came with a needle. I do not remember. And then it comes with 2 hooks, 2 different size hooks. So it does, and that's the first kit that you get. The next kits won't have all that because otherwise you would have so many of these. But it kind of gives you everything you need to create this. So that's what you're paying into. They also come with the yarn, and these are anti-pilling, which is great if you have ever made anything with yarn and had some wear and tear over time. You do get the little balls on them, so that can be frustrating. So this apparently is an anti-pilling yarn, and it came with 3 of them. So the colors are marked here near the barcode. This is driftwood. This one is weathered gray, and then the last one here is Piedra de Luna, or Moonstone. Let's just call Moonstone. So I'll be doing these kits to complete the Afghan, so you have some time. I'm gonna try to, I went through my list of viewer requests, so I'm trying to fit these in, and it's, you know, it's kind of due that I do these. All right, so let's see what this booklet has in store for us. I'm just gonna be, these videos that I'm doing is just a supplement to the instructions. If you would like to make this Afghan, I highly suggest you subscribe to the blanket. I will be going over new stitches at least 3 times step by step, and then I'm going to be reading through the instructions. If there's any confusion that I think might happen, I'll explain through it. But yeah, this video is only, you know, meant to explain the stitches, not necessarily do the, you know, the entire thing step by step. But anyway, if you need to speed up or slow down the video, click on the gear button in the corner. There's playback options to go fast or slow. If you don't need to hear me talk, click on the CC closed caption button and lower the volume on your device. So the first thing that we are going to be doing today is block 13. It's going to be this pattern right here, so at least you have an idea of what it's supposed to look like. Okay. All right, so we are going to be using our hook indicated. Okay, and then we are going to be using, looking for which yarn color we're supposed to be using here. Pattern notes. All right, so we're going to be using weathered gray. So I got to get the weathered gray out. All right, so we have our weathered gray. Comment below, let me know if you spell gray with a G-R-A-Y or a G-R-E-Y. I think I'm more a G-R-E-Y person. Alright, so when you get nice spools like this, you could just easily grab the outside end yarn and it'll roll around as you pull it. You're going to have to remove this. But if you want to kind of keep everything intact and not roll around, you could end up picking the end yarn from the inside. Now, the way most of these spools work, so you're going to see a little yarn that you can pull here. You're going to think that it's the inside yarn. It's not. For some reason, they just, I guess to tuck it out of the way, they tuck the outside end inside. You can pull that out so you don't confuse it with the inside end. And we're going to wrap this around our spool here and tuck it into that band of paper. So that way it's out of sight, out of mind. We don't confuse it. But I am going to go back in here, and what I'm going to do is pull out a chunk. Sometimes I get lucky and I pull out the other end, no problems. Sometimes they help you out and they show you the other end, but it doesn't seem like this is it. So I'm going to just randomly pull a chunk from the inside, and a big wad is going to come out. Don't get freaked out. And as you see, there's, okay, so eventually I found the other end. That's what you want. We are going to eventually use this stuff, so that's why I say don't worry, you'll end up using it. But this is a great way to get your feeder yarn because you can keep pulling and pulling. The natural weight of the spool will keep it down. If not, you could always place a blanket, a pillow, or something on there so that it's weighted down and you can just keep pulling. And it's not rolling around. So that's a little tip that you can take with you if you need it. But now we are going to start this. Alright, I'm just going to do this kind of thing to it. It kind of situates the yarn and removes any of the tangles in advance so that you don't have to stop and do it. But once we get rid of this chunk of yarn, it should be good to go after it starts pulling out from that spool. So we got our end piece here. Now what we're going to do is we are going to start off with our slip knot. Okay, this is going to get our first loop onto our hook. So what you want to do is we're going to hold this end with our ring, pinky, and thumb, and then we're going to hold the other end with our index and middle finger, and we're going to hold our yarn apart. You want your feeder yarn up here out of the way. I'm going to take the crochet hook and we're going to lie it perpendicular to the yarn. Then what I'm going to do is go down, out, and around to create a loop around the yarn. So I can slide this up and down. You want to slide the hook all the way down towards the thumb. We're trying to minimize the amount of waste that we use doing the slip knot. So take your middle finger on your right hand and just hold it where it crosses over like that. Because we're going to let go of the left and we're going to gather up some feeder yarn around our finger. Then you're going to re-pinch the end here with your thumb and middle finger. You want to hold on to that tight. You don't want to lose that, because we're going to slide our hook further down towards our thumb, again minimizing the amount of waste that we use doing the slip knot. And then where this crosses, you just want to pinch with your thumb and middle finger like that. That way you can no longer slide your hook up and down, and you stabilize your hook as well. What we're going to do from here is we're going to do a yarn over. A yarn over is this yarn here and wrapping it over the hook like this. So I'll show you again. You should be right here pinching this feeder yarn up here. We're going to yarn over the hook like that. Now we're going to take the hook and drag this piece of yarn through this loop. So let's do that now. Just like that. So from here, I'm going to overhand my hook like this. I'm going to repinch my end like that. Again, to minimize the amount of waste, I'm going to push this knot that we have in the middle towards this thumb. So keep pushing that knot until it gets smaller and smaller and smaller until you can't push it anymore. And once you get to that point, you can take your middle finger and thumb and just pull this little excess piece out a little bit more to make that knot nice and snug. You don't have to pull it too tightly. And then once we're here, I'm going to just grab the knot and slide it towards my hook, leaving a little bit of room so that I can start my first stitches. Okay, so that's a slip knot. Going to gather up some feeder yarn here, and we're going to start our first set of instructions. Okay, so what we're going to do, we are going to be creating our chain stitches. So the chain stitch is the most basic stitch in crocheting. So I'm going to show you how to do that. What you're going to want to do is do a yarn over with this feeder yarn here. Again, a yarn over is simply putting this over the hook. So yarn over like that. Then we're going to take the hook and pull this strand through this loop. So let's do that now. So now we have our first chain stitch, and that's it. That's as simple as it'll get for stitches in crochet. So now we're going to do this again. I'll show you 2 more times. So take this yarn, we're going to yarn over the hook, then we're going to take the hook and pull this through the loop, and now we have 2 chain stitches. One more time with you guys. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to take the hook and pull this strand through this loop, and now we have 3 chain stitches. Now the way that this yarn is, which is very soft by the way, it's going to be a little bit hard to see, but I'm going to be showing you the different pieces that make a chain stitch. So if you can try to see it either through video or through your own project in your hands right now, we have the 3 chain stitches, and each stitch has 3 loops. If you look at the, let's say, first chain here, there's a loop on this side, a loop on this side. If you turn it sideways, you have that back loop right here. So again, a chain stitch comprises of 3 loops. You have 1, 2, turn it on its side, and 3. I call this the hump. You can call it a back bump, but there's a reason why I'm explaining all the pieces to these chain stitches for the next round. So now that we did 3, go ahead and complete the rest of the chain stitches required. All right, and once you've completed that, you can go and count the number of stitches just to make sure you have the right ones. When it comes to something as long as this, and I've done other projects that were longer, another tip and trick you can do is count in increments of 3. My favorites are 3, 5, 10, just so that you don't have to like keep counting up one by one, and you know, sometimes you get distracted and lose count. That's me. I mean, that might not be you, but that's me. So I try to skip a few so that I don't lose count. And I also count from the hook, so that helps as well. All right, so for the next part of our instructions for round 1, it says that we have to do a half double crochet stitch, and we're starting at the 3rd chain from the hook. And the reason why, and they do have this in parentheses, for the height of a half double crochet stitch, it's equal to about two chains. So when you start off like this, and then your next row is a half double crochet, they want you to be able to have the height made for the half double crochet stitch so that it looks like a solid row. If you didn't do that and you start it right away, it's going to look like a triangle, and it's going to look like a pinch at the end, at one of the ends, and you don't want that. So what we're going to do, we're going to count 3 stitches from the hook. So you see this 1, 2, and 3, and this is standard anytime, not just these instructions, but anytime someone is telling you, an instruction is telling you to do a half double crochet stitch after you make these chains. It's a typical 2 chain height to do a half double crochet row. Okay, so I showed you the parts of a chain, and it doesn't say this here. I've seen one other booklet that has done this, and I really love that booklet, by the way, and it has been on my channel, so you can definitely check that out if you want to make cute snacks. But regarding this, when you put your hook into the 3rd chain from the hook, that's what we're seeing right here. I like to put my hook into the back hump. So you have your loop here, loop there, and the back hump there that I explained earlier. We're just going to put our hook into the back hump. And the reason for that is because as we're putting our hook into the back hump, if we flip it to the other side like this, our braid for that chain is untouched. It still looks like a nice pretty braid with a loop here and a loop here. So these edges are eventually going to be sewn together, so they're not necessarily going to be exposed. But however, the reasons for doing this is, 1, if the edge is exposed, you get to keep a nice pretty braid. Or if you are doing edging, and this is all my opinion, not a fact, but when you do edging, you can then grab 2 loops, making a sturdier edge, because as you grab the 1 loop, it just seems a little flimsier to me. So this might be a little, you know, flimsy feeling. I mean, the other way that they have you do it, the universal way of doing it, is putting it into one of the braids. So I showed you that the braid of the chain has a loop here or a loop here. You normally put it on the top loop like this. And that's just as flimsy feeling. So if you're going to do a flimsy feeling anyway, you might as well use the back loop and keep the braid intact, looking nice. So it's a little much, but it'll be worth it in the end. You'll see. All right, so to do a half double crochet stitch now, what we're going to do is we're going to do a yarn over. So yarn over, From the third chain, from the hook, we're going to stick our hook in there. So again, I'm putting this in the back hump. All right, so now you have 3 loops onto your hook. From here, we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull this through just 1 loop, like that. Now you still have 3 loops onto your hook. Then we're going to yarn over again, and we're going to pull through all 3 loops, like that. And that is pretty much a half double crochet stitch, and of course I'm going to show you 2 more times. But I wanted to show you that the 2 chains that we kept here, it's building the height of the half double crochet stitch so that it's a nice solid row. If you didn't do that, like I said, it's going to be pinched and it's going to look a little weird. Alright, what you could do, let me see, the first 2 chains, it does count as the first half double crochet stitch as well. So what you could do, I'm going to grab my markers, and these are some of the markers that this kit came with. Some others are from the other kits that I've collected over time. So always keep the extra tools that these kits give you, because in the end it'll help you out a lot. And you know, you don't have to pay anything extra to get them. It just comes with the kit. If you do not have these markers or lost them or what have you, you can buy them online or at a hobby store, and they come in packs. So you'll get a bunch of them, and a bunch is better than less, because sometimes there's repetitive instructions and you need to keep track of your stitches and your rows and all that jazz. So what you could do is grab a marker. They're plastic, so you could still hurt yourself if you tried, but it's plastic. I'm going to be marking the first half double crochet stitch. So where you have the 2 chains, I'm just going to mark the second chain, and that's going to indicate our first half double crochet stitch. And you want to make sure that when you stick it in there, you don't pierce the yarn. I have the 2 loops of the braid in here. It's clear, it's not piercing any yarn. I'm going to close this up, and this is going to remind me that when I'm doing the next row, this is where I should end up. Because sometimes, especially like I said, with this color, it's pretty, it's soft, but it's really hard to kind of see the stitches. In fact, the first half double crochet stitch that we made, I'm going to show you the braid part of the stitch. So here's the top stitch, there's the braid. It looks like those chain stitches that I showed you earlier. It is made up of 2 loops, one here and one here. Now when you hold it like this, this becomes the front loop, this becomes the back loop. I'm not sure if we're going to have to deal with any of that later, but it's always nice to know the anatomy of a stitch so you can better understand how to crochet, and in the future when you see something, you'll be able to understand what they're telling you, because now you know that this is the front loop and this is the back loop. Alright, let's do another half double crochet stitch. So we're going to yarn over. I'm going to stick the hook into the next stitch, but in the back hump, and then we're going to yarn over, and I'm going to pull through 1 loop. So now I still have 3 loops onto my hook. We're going to yarn over again and pull through all 3 loops. And again, here's the top of that stitch. It looks like a braid, and it has 2 loops, one here, front loop, back loop. Okay, one more time with you guys. So yarn over into the next stitch using the back hump right here, stick in your hook, then we're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. Now I've had someone comment this before. You really want to be relaxed, especially if you know you're going to be doing a lot of crocheting, because if you're all tensed up, your hand's gonna hurt fairly quickly, through my experience. So you want to hold your hook kind of underhand like this, and you want it to be nice and loose, because when you can tell if you're putting too much tension if you can't put your hook into the next stitch. If you're having a hard time putting that hook through the next loop, it means you have to loosen up your stitches. Now, if you are a beginner, it could happen also to where you put in your hook in the next stitch and it's like a huge loop. You know, that happens as well, where you're too loose about your stitches. So over time, you'll be able to make them not only all uniform, but at a tension where it's easy to put your hook in. Now, after doing this for several years, I still have moments where I'm rushing or maybe feeling a certain way, and my tension is too tight to where I can't, it's hard for me to put my hook in there. So it'll still happen. You just have to be mindful of how you are making your stitches, and this is going to in turn make your life easier. Alright, so now that we've done 3 half double crochet stitches, I'm going to finish the rest of this row, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you the next steps. Alright, so I finished the rest of the row just for me, so I know I want to take another marker and I'm going to mark the last stitch that we made here. So again, slip it under that braid, the front and back loops. You want to make sure that you're not piercing the yarn, and you can tell if you pull it and you see it's nice and clear. Close it up. So it says to turn it after we're done. So if you're right-handed, all your stitches are going to end up on the right side. To turn it, you just flip it like this. You can keep your needle, you can keep your hook staying right, of course, but now your piece, your project is on the left. Okay. So now what was the front and back loop, it's now changed because obviously we're looking this way. So this would be the front loop, this would be the back loop. So it all depends on what side you're looking at. All right, so like I said, these markers are a lifesaver. This is going to indicate that I finished the first row and that this is going to be the beginning of the second row. So for the instructions, it says from rows 2 through 25. Now that means that we're repeating the same instruction for that many rows. And sometimes, especially with me, I have to stop what I'm doing, attend to whatever it is I'm doing on the outside of this camera. So I'll be gone for a while and I have to remember what row I'm on. So what you can do is another tip. If this is going to be row 2, you can count these markers: row 3, row 4, row 5, yikes, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Okay, so I actually like to pick markers that have a wide opening. Sometimes over time or manufacturing, you get ones that are too close, like this one, and so it's just extra effort to make sure that it's open more and then sliding it through, as opposed to just it's open, slide it through, in case you're wondering why I'm sorting these out. Or you can, you know, color code them. Sometimes you're using like a red yarn, you don't want to use red markers because it could get lost in the mix. But anyway, so I got my markers for rows 2 through 25, so I know that whatever happens throughout my day or week, sometimes month, it's the same instruction. I just have to use all these markers up. So we're gonna do this next row together. I'm gonna put that marker in, and then after that I'm gonna do the rest in silence. But for this row, let's see, it says, ooh, okay, we're doing something a little interesting here. So in the pattern notes, we have to create the height of the half double crochet stitch. So we're going to be chaining 2, like I said. That's universal for any instruction. If you're doing a half double crochet stitch, you have to build 2 chains to make that height, okay? So make 2 chains. All right, and that's kind of considered as the first half double crochet stitch, I am gonna mark the second chain of this row to indicate that you know, where it is. That might not be a great idea. We're just gonna leave it because I don't want to use up my 25. It might get muddy. All right, so we're just gonna leave the 2 chains, and you'll just have to see it when you're coming back around. All right, so from here it says that we have to do half double crochet stitches in the spaces between the first stitches. Okay. So we're not necessarily starting on a stitch, we're starting in the space between. So let me show you what that means. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to do our half double crochet stitch, but where you're going to stick your hook. So if you spread these apart, this is the first half double crochet stitch, this is the next one. Split these 2 apart so you can see where the individual half double crochet stitches are. What we're doing is placing the hook in between 2 stitches. We're not going to even use the chains, the braids on top. We're just going to go ahead and stick our hook between the 2 half double crochet stitches, right? And we're going to go about our half double crochet life. So we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So now we've created our half double crochet stitch. So in brackets, when it's in brackets, it means that you have to repeat that instruction however many times it tells you to. So I'm going to show you this again. We're going to do another half double crochet stitches in between the stitches. So yarn over, we're going to go in between, so this is that next half double crochet stitch and here's the other one. We're going to go in between the 2. So put your hook in between those 2 stitches and we're going to complete our half double crochet stitch. So pull up a loop, yarn over, and then pull through all 3 loops. Alright, so you can kind of see now what it's doing. Let's do one more with you guys. Yarn over. We're going to place our hook in between the next set of stitches. Alright, so put your hook in between the next set. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Alright, so now we've done 3 with you guys, and we're just going to continue this all the way down to the last 2 stitches. So I'm going to show you what they mean by that. So let's just continue doing this. All right, so this is the last 3 here. So we're gonna do 1, and then we're gonna do 1 more because it said to stop at the last 2 stitches. All right, now here's the last 2. It says that we're gonna skip the next stitch and then half double crochet stitch in the last one and turn. So yarn over where this marker is, that's your last stitch. That was when we indicated the second chain from the height chains we were doing in the beginning. You're gonna stick your hook in where that marker is. Unfortunately, this row is not gonna have it because I don't want to confuse the marker situation here. But anyway, so next time you'll just have to find the second chain. But we're gonna do 1 more half double crochet stitch, and then we're gonna turn. But I am gonna mark this last stitch off just to let me know that I'm gonna be doing rows 3 now. So put my 3rd row marker in, we're gonna turn this, and we're gonna do the same instruction. So like I said, it's going to be kind of easy. These blocks are kind of easy. It's just the same thing over and over again. It definitely helps you learn the stitch. So if you have not seen that video, let me know. But in the first kit, it was basically showing you how to do, I don't even remember, I think one of them was a double crochet stitch, but that's kind of practice. You're essentially making a blanket, but because it was the same stitch like this one is, you really get to practice how that stitch is, so that by the end of the block, hopefully you're confident in doing, in this case, a half double crochet stitch. And that's what I would love for you guys to do at the end of this video. All right, so let's continue this in silence. All right, so we completed all the rows. That was a lot. I did add in an extra marker to indicate the last stitch of this whole thing here, and then we're gonna do round 26. So we are going to have to switch to the smaller hook. So I'm gonna just pull this out, and we're gonna switch to the smaller hook. Okay, and retighten this up. And then it says that we have to work evenly 25 stitches, single crochet, which I'm going to show you how to do, down the sides. So down these two sides we're doing 25. And then we're going to be putting in 3 single crochet stitches in each corner. So let me just count this a bit. Leaving the markers is a good idea to kind of already count to see what we have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have 12 here at each line. So if we do another single crochet stitch at the spaces, then we get a total of 24. And then we can just judge by looking at this. I can put an extra one to complete the 25, and then that way it'll be evenly spaced. And then we're gonna find the corners and then do that. Now, since we know the number of stitches on the top and bottom, I rotated this now, so top and bottom's right here. The first and last stitches will be the corner pieces that will have the 3 single crochet stitches. All right, so hopefully that wasn't too confusing, but I'm going to walk you through this anyway. So right now we're round 26 is going to be doing the edging. So I'm just going to grab some yarn here. All right, and we're going to start right away with our 25 evenly spaced out 25 single crochet stitches. So we're going to start in the space and then the line. I call it space and line because there's nothing here, and the marker is right on the line of the rows. So let's do 25. Oh, I didn't even show you how to do a single crochet stitch. So we're going to stick our hook into the space, and there's no clear place to put them, but what you want to do is make sure you have 2 loops, like we mentioned in the very beginning. I find that crocheting around 2 loops is better than 1. So I'm sticking my hook into this space here, and I'm choosing to use 2 loops. Now to do a single crochet stitch, you currently have this happening right now. So to do a single crochet stitch, we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull this through this space we put in our hook. All right, so now we have 2 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. So that's a single crochet stitch. Very simple. Okay, so before we do our single crochet stitch, we have to chain 1. So before I showed you to do 2 chains for the height of a half double crochet stitch, the height of a single crochet stitch is 1 chain. So that's why they ask you to do 1. So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to do a single crochet stitch. So stick your hook into that space and use the 2 loops in there. Make sure you have like a good grab on some random 2 loops so that the stitch is nice and sturdy. We're going to yarn over. You're going to pull this through that space we put our hook in. So now we have 2 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. So we have our first single crochet stitch. Here's the top of the braid. We have the front loop and the back loop. Alright, so let's do this again. I'm going to stick my hook now where the marker is, at least try to. Again, there's no clear path to put this in, but what you want to do is make sure you grab at least 2 loops to make this nice and sturdy. So we're going to yarn over, you're going to pull this through that spot there. We have 2 loops on our hook, we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. So now we have 2 single crochet stitches. Right, let's do this one more time with you guys. This time we're going to go back into the space. So put your hook in there and then you want to use up 2 loops for a nice grab on this. Yarn over, pull through that space. So now we have 2 loops. We're going to yarn over again. You're going to pull through those 2 loops. So now we have 3. I'm going to continue the rest in silence, and then when we get to the end of the corner, I'm going to show you how to do the 3 single crochet stitches. Alright, so I did 25 across. You can remove these after, but I'm going to show you how to do the 3 single crochet stitches in a corner. So we're just going to take, this is the bottom right now, and see, I told you how, like, if we did start our half double crochet stitches in the back hump, we get to retain the beautiful braid. It's not going to be seen after this edging, but at least now we're able to put our hook into 2 loops rather than 1, making the stitch stronger. So into this stitch here, we're going to do 3 single crochet stitches. So 1, stick your hook back into that same stitch, 2, 1 more time into the same stitch, and 3. So we have our 3 single crochet stitches into that 1 stitch. So now we're going to do 25 stitches across, and then we're going to have the same corner condition. I'm going to come back in when we get there, because that will be the end of the last stitch of that row. So we'll pop in when I get there. Alright, so now I'm at the, I did 25, I'm at the end of the line. I'm going to do 3 single crochet stitches in the last stitch from that first row. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at this side, and the markers are on the other side, but that's okay. We're going to do the same thing. Looks like we're going to, this time it looks like, oh, we're going to start at a marker, so marker and then space, and then at the end we'll have to fit in an extra stitch before we get into the corner to make 25. So now that this is basically the same process that we did for this end, we're going to do it for this end, and then let's see, and then we're going to come back down here. So back to the beginning, which we've already marked. And then we're going to fasten off. And that's going to be the end of this square. So in silence, I'll pop back in when we get to the beginning. Alright, so I did my last corner and we're gonna join. And when they say join, I'm guessing they're talking about a slip stitch. So let me show you what that is. So we're gonna go to the first single crochet stitch that we made here, right? And we're gonna join or slip stitch them together. So what you're gonna do is stick your hook into the first stitch, the first single crochet we made, like that. And then to join them, all you have to do is do a yarn over and pull through all the loops off your hook, like that. Simple as that. Now, all we have to do is fasten off. So, I'm just gonna cut off about an inch or so. And then, to fasten off, you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull this through the loop and all the way out. So just pull it all the way out. And then you're going to pull on this end to tighten up this loop. And that's the end of it. So now you can take this opportunity to remove all the markers that we used. So essentially these markers are also helpful for when you have to do even stitches on the sides, because you will find, if you didn't, good for you, but you will find that crocheting edging on the sides of your project is a lot harder than being able to see the simple stitches on the top or the bottom of your project. So that is the end of this video for this pattern. We are going to come back in, obviously, and finish the other two. Comment below, tell me how it went, and if you're looking forward to completing the rest of this Afghan, you know, and how you like that kind of idea of subscribing into a project and getting piecemealed the project. It's my first. I was kind of unaccustomed to it, and I unfortunately set the deliveries every 2 weeks, so I had to date them and make sure that I didn't mix them up because I was not making them at the time, and I wanted to do these in order. But I did get the Afghan, but I also got the Moroccan Afghan. So comment below if you've reached this far. Thank you so much for tuning in. Also comment if you don't mind me slipping in the Moroccan Afghan in between these two. I'm feeling like maybe, just to not confuse everyone, to just keep it to the one. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. But anyway, alright you guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.